is I always knew that I would like to foster when my children had grown up, because I myself had been in care when I was growing up, and my parents found life very challenging, and my mum had died when I was 14. So it was a really tricky time, and I was very fortunate in that I was placed with one of the sets of foster parents I was placed with was a professor of maths and a head teacher, and I've got no doubt in my mind that that changed the path for me, really, because I had access to a life and experiences that I never would have had in my family of origin. And I knew, as I say, that this is something that I would like to do. It's like a kind of giving back where possible, and then it just arrived in the inbox. So I think there'll be huge numbers of people who might think about fostering and feel like it's not for me. And I would say to anyone, pick up the phone and find out, because I rang up, and the first thing I did is I sort of told them all the things I thought that they might consider barriers to me being a foster carer. And Andy Turner, that came out to visit me, and actually was so wonderfully reassuring, because he talked about how so many of the experiences that I had would be useful and could be useful, so far from being a barrier. So and the journey, the process is that it's a lengthy process, but you are really held through that process. So the training I had was amazing. The visits, the social. So we're held throughout that process, and at the end of it, I was given the option of having a buddy, which I took, and again, that was really helpful, because the thing is about foster caring is that you don't know what you don't know, so you kind of stumble along, and learning things as you go along. So it's really brilliant having a buddy, and again, it's something I myself would like to do. If I have the opportunity to buddy someone else. So I did have that. So you've got the buddying process, then the support groups in both parts of the council, which are really helpful to go along to and meet other carers and talk about things that feel a bit uncertain or not clear. So there's a lot of support there for people. So I have a young person with me currently, and we are just past the 4-month mark. And he's a lovely young person. He's a 7-year-old, and he's been with me about 4 months now, and will be with me for a while longer, as far as we know. Really sort of emphasising the support that is available. That's what I think is really important. So I work in a really busy department. Homelessness is 24 hours a day, non-stop. And it's really important to, one of the managers there is a woman called Julie Oliver, and she has made this possible. There's several, I've got my manager and my manager, but what I mean is that as a service, they've not just given it, sort of like, we're verbally, they've actually made it possible. So some of the things that they've done to help me with that is, I was working 1 day a week in the Wickham office and 1 day in the Aylesbury office. So they've enabled me to work 2 days, my 2 office days in the Aylesbury office, and that makes a huge difference in terms of childcare, picking up. It means I'm not stuck in, sort of 4 hours of traffic. But also they're just the way that they are, I have flexibility. When I was having the placement, we were all waiting to hear whether, the young person was arriving, and they're really, yesterday, Julie, their manager I mentioned, came in with a bag of things for the young person that's staying with me. And that's above and beyond, isn't it? But what it does do is it gives an example of what I'm saying, that the council is classed as a fostering friendly organisation, and I sometimes, there'll be other people working in the council who may think, well, actually we're all working under very difficult circumstances. Will that be my experience of my team? But it's worth asking the question, because they do demonstrate a genuine commitment to it. And as I say, it's it's not even just about making rotas fit and times fit. There is that kind of compassion, I think, and support for fosterers. Most rewarding part for me is knowing that this little person is safe. So not only is he safe, but he's having access to a world that it's his right to have, and I find that really rewarding. Um, he's a very resilient child, and our looked after children in this county are incredibly strong children who have and are processing some of the biggest wounds, that a child and young person can even try to manage, and they do that, every day. And I think for me, knowing that he's safe and having a space, just a space in which to breathe and be seven, is really rewarding. And seeing how that affects him. So we've just had meetings this week with school, and he's thriving. So in a really short amount of time, this little boy gets to get a sense of who he is beyond what he has experienced. And so that is really, really rewarding, because I think sometimes when our looked after children are in care, they're often seen for what their experience is, what their families are, what they've gone through, but underneath that is the character of the child. And with this young person, he's a very funny child, he's super intelligent, he's witty, and he was chatting away the other night, telling me he was practicing his sarcasm. There is this amazingness about all of our children, but our looked after children are carrying something extra. Please, please, please pick up the phone and make the inquiry. Have no doubt about it. The only thing that can happen is that you decide a bit further down the line that you don't want to do it. That's the only thing that can happen, or you can actually go on and have this incredible experience about being part of a fostering community in Buckinghamshire that is really working together to do all that we can for the children in our community. And so I would say pick up the phone and make that call. It's an inquiry.